Hi guys, and welcome back to another Tech Tutor Thursday video. Today we are continuing on our Microsoft Word tutorial by going over some basic formatting tools available in Word. Last week we went over the basics of Word, including useful terms to know, navigating Word, and opening, saving, and printing documents. So if you need a little refresher, feel free to check that out and then come back to learn about formatting. Okay, so on the agenda for today, we are going to do a small review of some stuff from last week, and then we are going to move on to different formatting tools that are available in the Home tab in both the font group and the paragraph group. So this will be a very basic tutorial of most commonly used formatting tools. But if there's ever anything more in depth that you need help with, you can always feel free to send me an email or come see me in the library for one-on-one tech tutoring. Okay, so first of all, we are going to do a very brief review from last week. All of the editing, formatting, etc. tools available in Word are displayed at the top of the document page when you have Word open. So this entire toolbar is called the ribbon. And this is the area at the top of the screen where commands are organized into tabs, icons, and groups. So tabs are these right here, and these are areas within the ribbon where like features are organized. The 7 main tabs include Home, Insert, Page Layout, References, Mailings, Review, and View. Below that, we have the different groups. So these are the areas within the different tabs where related task functions, like adjusting the page setup or the font, are organized. And then inside of that, we have the different icons. So if we wanted to make our text bold, we would click here. If we wanted to make our text larger, we would click here. So today we are going to go over those most frequently used formatting tools, beginning in the Home tab at the font group. Okay, so first we are going to go over those formatting tools that are available within the Home tab in the font group. So as we can see here within our PowerPoint, here is the font group on Word, and that is outlined in red. Now I'm going to switch over to a document where I can do some demonstrations. When you first open Word, it will always open on the Home tab because that is the default tab. And like I mentioned before, the most frequently used formatting tools are the font and paragraph groups. So this tutorial is going to be focused on those two groups. If you need help with some more advanced tools or you have specific questions, I do offer one-on-one tech tutoring in the library where we could go over that individually. First of all, we have the font button. And this is the button that allows us to change the style of the letters. So to change the font, all you'll need to do is highlight whatever you want to change. And then you can come up here and click on this drop down arrow. And then from there, there's quite a few different fonts to choose from. You can select the font that you want. So I'll click Arial, click on that, and then your font has been changed. If you wanted to change the size of your font, you could highlight it again. Come up here to the font size, click the drop down arrow, and then you can change it and you can make it bigger or you can make it smaller. So I'm going to make it to 12. I'm going to click on that, and then we have changed our font size. So beneath those two options, we have these three. So first of all, we have the bold button, which allows us to emphasize text by darkening it. To the right of that, we can make our text italic. So this allows us to emphasize text by slanting it. And then finally, we have the underline button. So this allows us to emphasize text by underlining it. And so to do that, it would be the same process as before. So I would highlight my text, and then I would just come up here and click the B. So now I've made my text bold. If I wanted to undo that, I would highlight it again, and I would just click on the B again. And that's the same process to make things italic or underlined. So I'll just click on the underline button, and then there we've made our text underlined. So now I will just undo that. So I'll highlight it and then I'll click the underline button again. Next we have the strike through button. So that is right here. So this button allows us to put a horizontal line through text or strike it. So to strike through text, all you'll want to do is highlight your text and then you'll click on this button. There, we've created a strike through line through our text. And then if we wanted to undo that, we would highlight it again and just click on this button one more time. So next we have the color button. So if we wanted to change the color of our font, again, we would just highlight whatever we want to change. And then we would come up here to this drop down arrow. So here we have different theme colors. We have standard colors, but then we could also click down here to go to more colors if you don't find what you're looking for on that drop down box. So I'm just going to click a standard color. So I'm going to click it, make it red. And then there we go. And then again, same process to undo it. I would just click on this arrow again and set it back to black. Let's say we wanted to highlight some text. We would do the same thing. We'd highlight whatever we want to highlight. And then we'll click on this button right here. So if I click on that, it highlights it and makes it yellow. If I highlight this again and click on the drop down arrow, I can highlight it in different colors. Or if I decide I don't want it to highlight, I'll just click no color. Okay, so let's say we want to change the case of our text. The change case button is what allows us to change text to upper or lowercase, as well as apply common types of capitalization. So again, we would just need to highlight whatever we want to change, and then we'll come over here to this button where we have the upper and lowercase a's. So I'm going to click on the drop down arrow, and let's say I want to make it uppercase. I'll click there. If I wanted to capitalize each word, I would click there. Or if I wanted to make every word lowercase, I would click there. And finally, let's say I am done and I want to revert my formatting back. I would come up here to this button where we have the little eraser, and I'll just click on that. So this makes it standard default for Word. All right, so now we are going to move on to the paragraph group. So this is where the paragraph group lives within the Home tab. And now I'm going to switch back over to my resume document to do some demonstrations. Okay, so we are going to be working within the paragraph group, which is right here. So let's get into it. The first one I'm going to demonstrate is bullet points. So all you would need to do to make something a bulleted list is highlight it, come up here and click on this little drop down arrow. From here you have a couple different options of ways to bullet point your list, but I'm going to choose this one. And there you go. If you wanted to undo that, you would just come back up here and click it again. If you wanted to create different levels in your bulleted list, you would just highlight it again. I'm going to bullet point all of this. And then I'm going to highlight this part right here because I want to indent that. So all you need to do is highlight what you want to make multi-level and then click the Tab button on your keyboard. So I am going to remove this and then I'm going to show you guys how to do a numbered list. So I'm going to click here again. So now my text is still highlighted. So numbered list is basically the button that allows us to create a numbered list for text. So that one is going to be right here next to our bullet points. So I'm going to click the drop down arrow. Again, we have a few different options that we could select, but I'm going to choose this first one. And this one right here is showing up as an A because previously I had tabbed that one. So it is made it a multi-level list. So let's say I wanted to indent this one or make it multi-level. I would just highlight it, click the tab button, and then there we go. Okay, and finally we have the multi-level list button, which allows us to apply a multi-level list of bullets, numbers, or letters to text. So to apply this, you would do the same exact steps as we've been doing with the bulleted list and the numbered list. This resume doesn't really lend itself well to a multi-level list, but all you would do is highlight whatever you want to make a multi-level list, and then come up here to this button and then click the drop-down arrow. And again, we have a couple different options that we could choose for our multi-level list. We could select that, and then it would format it. Like I said, this template doesn't lend itself well to a multi-level list, so it looks pretty much the same. Okay, so next I'm going to demonstrate decreasing and increasing indents. So to do that, I'm going to scroll down a little bit in my little resume template. So the decrease indent button is what allows us to move text closer to the left margin. So to decrease the indent, all we'd want to do is highlight whatever we want to move closer to the left margin, and then we come up here to this button. So I'm just going to click that, and there we go. This is center aligned, which is why it didn't move all the way, but it did move. To increase the indent, that is what allows us to move text closer to the right margin. And so all we do is highlight our text, and my text is already highlighted. Then we'd come up here to the button next to it. So I'm going to click on that, and there it has moved it closer to the right margin. Okay, and so now I'm going to demonstrate the different ways we can align our text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything on this page. Oops. I'm going to highlight everything. And so first I'm going to align text to the left. So this is the button that allows us to align text to the left margin. So that one is going to be the first one right here. So I'm just going to click on that. And there we go. Everything has been aligned to the left. So let's say I wanted to move it back to the center. Everything is already highlighted. So I would just come to this button, and I'm going to click on that. Let's say I wanted to move it to the right. Again, everything's already highlighted. So then I would just come up to this button, and I would click. Last way we can align our text is to justify it. So that is what allows us to distribute our text evenly between the left and right margins. So to justify the text, everything's highlighted. I would come up here to this last button and click there. So because of the format of this document, it doesn't look totally justified, but we can see the way it's meant to look in these little sections, and then down here where we have larger blocks of text. And then to undo that, all we would do is highlight everything again. Whoops. We would highlight everything again, and then it was center aligned to begin with, so I'm just going to click on that, and we're done. So now we are going to demonstrate how to change your line and paragraph spacing. So let's say I want to rearrange the spacing on this whole document. I would highlight everything, and then I'm going to come up to this little dialog box in the paragraph group. So now we have this page, but we're going to come right here to where it says line spacing, and we're going to click on this little drop down arrow. So let's say I want to make my line spacing single. I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to click OK. So now we have made the entire document single spaced. If I wanted to go back and change that to, let's say, double, I would just come back to the dialog box, double, and then OK. If you were just getting started in a document or an essay or whatever it may be, and you know you're going to need to double space it, you could also just click at the beginning of the document before you ever type anything, come straight to this dialog box and go ahead and set it to double. And then after that, everything you type will be double spaced. All right, so the final thing we're going to demonstrate in the formatting segment of this video is shading and borders. So shading is the button that allows us to apply color to the area behind a text section, a paragraph, or a table cell. So to add shading to a document, I'm going to scroll down a little bit and use this. We would just highlight whatever we want to shade. And now we're going to come up here to this button. And there it says shading. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow. And then let's say I wanted to make the background red. So I would just click on the red color block, and there we go. To undo that, I'm going to highlight everything again, come back up to the drop down arrow, and then click no color. Next, we are going to apply borders, and borders is what allows us to add or remove borders from a text selection. So using the same little spot of text, I'm going to highlight that. Then I'm going to come up to the borders button and click on the drop down arrow. So let's say I wanted to add a border all around this little section, or let's do outside borders. I'll click there. And now we have a border around this section of the text. Again, to undo that, I would just highlight everything again, come back to this drop down arrow, and click no border. And there we go. Okay guys, so that wraps up Microsoft Word Part 2. I hope you found these Word tutorials helpful or informative, and I hope this helps you get more acquainted with using Microsoft Word. If you are interested in learning how to better use Word, I do encourage you to just open up a new document and try out some of the different tools and functions. If you want some additional help or guidance, as always, please feel free to reach out to me by email or at the library. And remember, I am always available for Tech Tutor appointments. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.